Are you ready? Hi, I'm Ayanna Najuma, and I've got a story to tell. I'm going to take you on a journey that I experienced at 7 years old. The story of 13 little children who went into Cat's drugstore and asked for a hamburger and a Coke. Actually, we were called colored because we still had the colored and the white signs at the water fountain, in the restrooms, everywhere all over town. And people were thinking, what makes you think that you're just as good as we are? And me being a 7-year-old, I started asking all my older sisters, as I would call them, the 11 and 12-year-olds, why do they treat us this way? Said, we've got to do something about it. And so we were starting to ask the question, what can we possibly do? And someone said, what about a sit-in? A sit-in is when you go into a restaurant and you sit at the lunch counter and you ask to be served. Well, we had our idea. We wanted to have a sit-in, so we went to Mrs. Looper, Aunt Clara, and we told her what we wanted to do. She said, tell me what your plan is. She was always very strategic. One day we were going to walk into a place and ask to be served. And then we started asking ourselves, what would that place be? And that place ended up being Cat's drugstore. Now we had on back in the day, 1958, we had on our little church clothes, and everyone was dressed very, very presentable. We knew that we had to also treat the waitresses and the managers with dignity and respect. When we walked into the Cat's drugstore, we sat down at the lunch counter. We said, good afternoon, may I have a hamburger and a Coke? And the lady said no. We didn't know exactly what people would do. But we knew one thing for sure, they didn't want us there. But we also knew that we were trained to know that we were entitled to be there. Even though the waitress said many, many times, get up and leave, you're not supposed to be here. But we continued to ask for a hamburger and a Coke. So we did that for the first day. We did that for the second day. And finally, on the third day, we walked in and we said, good morning, may I have a hamburger and a Coke? And the waitress said, yes. But she wasn't excited about it. That expression on her face gave you the impression like, you know what? If I didn't have to serve you Negroes, I wouldn't be serving you. We sat and had a hamburger and a Coke. We left there. We talked amongst ourselves and we said, well, if we can have a hamburger and a Coke at Cat's drugstore, then what about this restaurant and that restaurant and this restaurant and that restaurant? For 7 years, I went Saturday after Saturday after Saturday to a restaurant and asked for a hamburger and a Coke. And every restaurant eventually said yes, except one. No one got arrested. There was no violence. Of course, the newspaper wrote about it. But there was a buzz in the air about these Black kids, and the college kids in Greensboro heard our story. And they went back to Greensboro in college and said, well, if those little kids can do it in Oklahoma City, then I know there's an opportunity for us to make change right here in Greensboro. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how can I make a difference? What can I do? There's two things that you need to make change. One is you've got to have the courage to do it. The other word is being committed. Because at the end of the day, when someone says something about you, you want to say, I made a difference in the world. And I had the courage to speak up. So I ask you to join me in this journey to say, I have a voice now. And not do I only have a voice now, I'm using it.